Hello everyone, my name is Ugochi Vivianuka. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! Thank you so much for joining me. And if this is your first time here, you are welcome. Please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button. Don't forget to share with your friends and family and whoever. This is not your first time here. Thank you. Welcome back. And please also, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and share. Okay, today I want to talk about an important topic. So just a few weeks ago, I went and I froze some of my eggs. And yeah, there's something called egg freezing, which I believe a lot of women and people know right now. It's just a way of potentially preserving fertility. And so what happens is your body is stimulated to produce more eggs than you would normally, so that they would, from the follicles, so that then you can get some of it out. Not you, but the doctor will get some of it out and put it in a deep freezer. And then if ever you want to have babies and you're having problems conceiving, you can then go use the eggs and use your partner sperm or donor sperm or whatever, and then fertilize it, and hopefully that will give you a better chance of having a child or children in the future. Now, I've always known about this egg freezing thing, and I used to joke about it. I used to say that once I reached 30 years old, I'll go and freeze my eggs. But by the time I got to 30, I was in a phase where I had just finished my PhD. I was, beginning to start a postdoc. My mind wasn't even thinking about it at all at that point. Financially, too, I didn't have the money because it is expensive, and that's one of the things I'm going to talk to you about today. And so I just put it off and completely forgot about it. Until end of last year, there were so many things that happened at the same time. So if you're following me, you'll see that I started to rate my dates. That's because I was going on many silly dates. Like, it was as if there was no potential, at least for me, in the market, in the dating market. So that was one. And then a lot of celebrities started coming out to say they wish they had frozen their eggs. They wish they knew what they knew now. There was a lot of talk about it. And so that was the second reason why I was like, okay. And then thirdly, I had finished my training and started making just a little more money than I was making before, or maybe a lot more, but I just started making money. So I was like, okay, maybe this is a good time to think about it. And then fourthly too, because I had just turned, I was turning 35, and they said the best time to freeze is before you turn 36. It's not that you cannot use it after 36, but it's just the egg quality declines with age. The same way sperm quality declines with age for men. So I hope men, you guys also know that there's sperm freezing. Just something to know. So for me, I was like, okay, if I'm doing it, I have to do it, I have to right now. And that was how I started looking into it. Now in this video, I'm not trying to convince anybody to go and freeze eggs. I understand that some people might be against their ethical, values or their religious values, and that's fine. You're entitled to that. So please, I'm not trying, this video is more for people who are considering it, who are thinking about it, and I'm just here to share my own experience and give tips. But if you're not considering it, that's fine, that's okay. I'm not saying that you should do this or you should not do that. Okay, so now, how was this experience for me? I would say the experience was overwhelming and underwhelming at the same time. And I'll tell you why. So for me, it was a lot of thinking. There was more about the psychological process than anything else. And that's something that sometimes people, you don't know, because you just see a lot of women that are doing egg freezing, that are doing IVF, and you're like, oh, this is easy. But it takes a lot of mental thinking. And so what I want to talk about today, I want to give you like some phases that I went through that I think that you need to be aware of. Number one is the psychological phase. So I'm also a religious person. I have to think about, okay, am I doing the right thing? I'm Catholic. Is this correct? Does it mean I'm losing my faith? What should happen? Should I do it? Should I not do it? And having gone through that process and talking to a few people, like, I felt more reassured, and that's why I decided to go ahead and do it. So, like I said, if it's not for you, that's fine. Or if you don't think that you're at that place, then that's fine. The second thing for me was I was on medication because I have severe dysmenorrhea, so serious painful menstrual period. So I was on medication that I started in 2020 to suppress my hormones and all those things, and so that had effect on my actual hormonal levels, as well as me trying to do this process, because that meant I have to get off the pill to start the process. And of course, I was anxious about getting my period again, about what to do. Would it be hurtful? How soon would it come? I had to start doing planning, and it didn't even go according to how I planned. I thought, okay, my period will come like a week or two after I stopped the medication. It took 3 weeks or even more before it came. And because of that, I almost missed the conference because it was so tight. I didn't know if I'll be able to finish up the egg freezing and retrieval process versus going for the conference. So that's something you have to think about if that applies to you. Now, the third thing to think about is I've also mentioned the finances, right? It's a lot of money, so you have to know and ask questions. There are some financial aids, but you may not qualify. It may be for citizens of that country. It could be for people really below the poverty line. It could be for married couples. So for me, I didn't qualify for any of those. I had to find a cheaper place to go and do it. And also check with your health insurance. If it means that you have to start saving more money, then you might have to do that. There are also some clinics that allow you to take loan and or link you up with some loan or people who lend money. And there's some other places where you can pay instrumentally, but then that means some interest, of course. So I didn't want to do all of that, which meant I had to pay a lot of money at once, and so it wasn't fun time for me, really. The other thing for me was actually taking the medication, because they give you all this list of medication. I'd asked them for the list because I was curious if I even got it, and I saw a long list and I was like, what is all this? But they told me, oh no, you won't take all of them, it's just for IVF. Mostly people that are doing IVF, but you're only doing the first part. I said, okay, good. But the day I went to go and pick up my medication, which was on my birthday, hello. So I started my birthday morning by, first of all, I went to do baseline ultrasound, and it's transvaginal ultrasound. So if you don't know what transvaginal ultrasound is, the one where they actually put something inside you. It was horrible. Out of all the things I'm saying, that was the worst part for me. And then I had to do blood tests. So when I did that, they said it was okay. I went and picked up medication. If you see the big bag of medication, it was a lot. It was, I think, 10 days worth of medication, injections, pills. Oh, it was a lot. And then I'd never injected myself before. I don't inject anything. I don't draw any blood, nothing like that. So thankfully, because I went out for dinner that day with a friend, my mind just told me, tell this friend to be around. So I thought, just wait, I just want to do this thing. And when it was time, I watched the videos, because they give you videos, they give you instructions, but it's different from practical, you know. And so when it was time to inject myself, I started shaking. I literally thought I was going to pass out. And then my friend had to help me do it. So I would suggest that you have at least one person next to you the first day you're doing it. Unless you are, a strong G, that's fine. But me, that's just my suggestion. So after she did that first day, the 2 injections, first there were 2 injections, and later it became 3 subsequently. But after she did the 2 injections that day, I was like, this is not too bad. And so from there, I was able to start doing it myself. But one of the injections used to sting me a lot, and the other one used to hurt me a lot. So I thought it would get easier as things went along, but not really. My stomach became harder. It was hard to find new spots, because you're supposed to prick yourself at different spots. So even though I have a lot of fat on my belly, which is supposed to help with the pain, but it was just hard finding things, and I started having rashes at some point. So that's another thing. You might get side effects. You may not get side effects. People are different. I got all sorts of side effects. I had headaches, I had muscle pain, I had nausea, I had acne, pimple, I had bloating, so many things. But I know people that didn't have anything. And then my friend told me later on, which I wish I knew earlier, to drink lots of water. So that might help your body to flush things out. So if you're going through this process, try to drink lots of water. I think that will help you. So I started doing that, injecting myself every day, morning and night, taking pills, going for ultrasound and blood work. At some point, I feel like my veins were giving up. Like, you would prick me, nothing would come out. Like, the nurses were just trying different places, and so that also affected me, because by the time it was time to do the egg retrieval and they wanted to put IV, it couldn't go in. I was just bleeding. They ended up doing it here, which is so painful, really, really painful. So just something to think about. So anyway, I was going through the process. They said, yeah, it looks like I was progressing. And then the last day, or the day I thought was the last day, I was dancing. Yay, last day. They called me. They said, we think you need one more day. I was like, what? They said, yeah, just to maximize the egg growth to maturity. So I had to go get one more day of medication. It wasn't funny. And then I had to then shift my hotel booking. Actually, I wasn't able to, so I think I canceled that one. And I had booked my fly out, my return ticket, so at least that worked well. Although I was not coming back home, I was going to another place for a conference.
Yes,
so I usually now booked my going ticket, which was expensive. You're booking a ticket the day before, 2 days before. Obviously, it's gonna be expensive, so it was like times 2 or 3 more the normal price. And then I went there the day before I could even, but that there was towards that last day, I could barely walk, I could barely sleep. It was, you know, when you're pregnant, it was as if I was pregnant. It was as if all the follicles were growing. Because bear in mind that normal follicle size is like less than 1 cm on a usual day, but they stimulate you so much that they want your follicle size on average to be about 20 millimeters. And imagine if you have so many follicles, you're carrying 20 millimeters. That more than what you're supposed to be carrying on a normal day. So that's how much, so many eggs and follicles, whatever, were just in me, and hormones and pumping, and it wasn't a fun experience for me. And I felt like I was going through this process alone. Obviously, I had a couple of friends that were checking here and there, but I didn't even tell so many people, so not everybody was checking on me, and even everybody's busy going through their life. So yeah, things were going, and then boom, it was already 12 days and I needed to fly out, so I flew out by myself. And so if you're going by yourself, you have to book a medical taxi to take you after the procedure, because most clinics will not release you because they have a legal issue. Like, they have to make sure that you get safe, so you have to book a medical taxi to release you, and then you walk you to the taxi. I'm like, what's the need for all of this? But anyway, when I got there, everything went smoothly in terms of the actual retrieval process. But make sure you sort out your finances before you get there, because by the time I got there, I thought I'll be able to just do bank transfer, but then instead of blabbing, you use your credit card. I was like, my credit card can't contain all of this money. I can't pay for my credit card. I have to do bank transfer. So it was upsetting. But I'm sure depending on the clinic you go to, they might do it better. And then it was time for the retrieval. After they put the IV, they gave me some medication to prevent nausea, and then they told me they were going to give me the anesthesia to knock you out, because you don't want to be awake really. But the process itself is about 15-20 minutes and they're done. But before they knocked me out, I told them, hey, you people, look very well, look well, collect all the eggs all the eggs that you see, because me, I'm not coming back here. Because they were saying, oh, some people do suicide. I said, look, I'm not coming back here. I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the emotion, I don't have anything. Just collect all the eggs you see. So, and then they knocked me out, passed out. I woke up. I was like, hey, you tolerated me well, we even some more eggs, whatever. I was happy. And then there were also a few more eggs that they said they were going to watch overnight. And then a few matured, and then they added it to total numbers. So that was good. But then recovery process is another thing also, because they had told me that I might bleed. My friend did not bleed, but I bled for almost 48 hours, so I had to wear pad. Then they told me to go and rest. I went to my hotel room, slept for like an hour or so. Woke up, I realized that there was a shopping mall near me. Instead of me to rest, I was walking for like from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. So I was exhausted by the time I finished. And by the time I got to where I was going to for my conference, I almost passed out. I did not have any energy in me. So please, they tell you to rest. Please make sure you rest. Because I didn't rest throughout the time I was doing the procedure. I didn't, the whole 2 weeks, and I didn't rest after it. It was bad. And after that, I started realizing that it was hard for me to pee. It was painful for me to pee. I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but it was as if things had been, touched. So it was just uncomfortable for me to pee. I couldn't do my dance exercises. I just couldn't do a lot, which is why I waited till now to make this video, because I needed to recover. So that's something that you should bear in mind, that it might take you a while to recover. It's not like you cannot work. You can do your work if you work from home. Obviously, if you do any manual labor stuff, you might have to stay at home. But just bear in mind that it might take some recovery. And then that was it for me. And so like I said at the beginning of this video, it was overwhelming and underwhelming for me at the same time. Overwhelming because everything happened, a lot of things happened so quickly. Sharp. Injection this, morning, afternoon, night, check this, do blood this, that. And everything was just going on. When I say it's underwhelming, because when I finished, I just sat down and I was like, so this is it. So I finished doing this thing. So what next? That was it. Like, so what next? What happens to these eggs? Will they ever be fertilized? Will I ever need them? Like I pray I don't need them, but at the same time, I was just like confused. It's like, okay, do I do another round? But I cannot do another round. I can't afford to do another round. If I moved out of this state, this country, how do I get my eggs? Can they ship my eggs? Will my eggs fertilize? Oh, it was a lot, and I don't even know how I felt at the end of the day. But I did it, and I thank God I'm here and I'm live talking to you guys. And so, like I said, I'm here to just encourage anyone and share my experience. If you want to do it, please feel free to put your questions, comments, what your experiences were if you did it already. But yeah, it's one of those things that with life you see changes in life happening. You see the rising rates of infertility, and you cannot help but think about, it's like insurance, like help and think about insuring some things for yourself. And that was what I did, and I've done it. And I thank you for listening. And like I said at the beginning, please thumbs up, like the video, subscribe if you haven't, share. And until next time, thank you so much for listening. It's your girl Vivi, and so I'm even exhausted thinking about it. The psychological process was the hardest, and the monitoring. But other than that, I believe you'll be fine. Oh, and they put me on the lowest dose. So imagine if they put me on the high dose because all the things I had, headaches, everything, I even felt high at the first day that they even took me. My friend helped me with the injection. It was as if I had muscle tingling. I could feel nausea immediately. Oh, it was a lot. But the doctors will monitor and know how to change. Sometimes they change doses. They didn't change my dose, but they'll monitor you. Hopefully you get a good doctor and get a good price. But make sure that you look around and you talk to people before you do it. All right. Again, thank you and bye-bye.